Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Coffee, where in today's episode, we're going to be diving in to an extended scene from Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. That's today here on Star Wars Coffee.
I have spoken.
Hello there to all of the returning subscribers, but if you're new to the channel and you're just finding Star Wars Coffee for the first time, be sure to always hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell. And don't forget to check out Star Wars Coffee on Twitter and Twitch, and don't forget to check out the official Star Wars Coffee merchandise. Links are in the description below.
Do it.
And now let's go to a galaxy far, far away.
This is the way.
What we're going to be doing today is going over an article from StarWars.com that gives us an inside look at the novelization of The Rise of Skywalker, where we get an extension of Kylo's scene on Mustafar, which is what he's doing when he's mowing down that entire enemy, all of these enemies on Mustafar, searching for the Sith Wayfinder. So we're going to get an extension of that scene in the novelization of The Rise of Skywalker, and StarWars.com was kind enough to share an excerpt with us, so we're going to take a look at that today. This is from the StarWars.com team. You've experienced the opening of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, but not like this. The novelization of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker arrives on March 17th, but it is no mere adaptation. Written by Ray Carson, the book features expanded scenes and content not seen in theaters, as well as a few surprises, all culled from deleted scenes, never before seen material, and input from the filmmakers. In StarWars.com's exclusive excerpt, Kylo Ren tears through Mustafar, hunting for a Sith artifact that could lead to Emperor Palpatine. But in a new sequence, he ultimately encounters a strange being protecting the desired device. So that's the preface for this excerpt that we're about to read, so without further ado, let's dive into this excerpt from Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, giving us an extended look at Kylo's search for the Sith Wayfinder on Mustafar. General Hux watched, from a safe distance, as Supreme Leader Kylo Ren and a squad of stormtroopers cut a swath of blood and destruction through the pathetic Mustafarian colonists. They battled through the gloomy woods of Korvax Fen, one of the few patches of this hellscape of a lava planet that was cool enough to support native growth, if you could call this growth. Barren trees grew out of noxious marsh, and the air was hazy with mist. The barbarian colonists were failing to put up a decent fight. Their archaic halberds and broadswords were no match for the technical superiority of a good blaster, or even Hux had to admit, a lightsaber. Ren was a blunt instrument, a mindless dog, whose current obsession was putting all the First Order's plans behind schedule. The general was half tempted to wade into the fight himself to hurry things along, just so they could leave this awful planet, or at least he would be half tempted if his skills were not better used elsewhere. Best if Ren did all the dirty work. Hux was too valuable to risk. He's almost beautiful to watch, mused Allegiant General Pride, standing tall beside him. The older man had arrogant blue eyes and a high hairline that seemed immune to perspiration, even in a hellscape climate like this. Don't you think? Hux refused to gratify with a response, because true beauty came from discipline, from order. So it was almost against his will that he found himself mesmerized as Ren met a barbarian's charge head-on, cloak flowing, mist swirling around him. The glow of his lightsaber occasionally snagged on his cheek scar, making it appear as though a crack of glowing lava slashed his face. It was like something out of a dream, or maybe a nightmare. As the Supreme Leader plunged his fiery crossguard into his attacker's abdomen, lifted him from the ground, and sent him toppling onto his back. Kylo Ren did not spare his fallen foe a single glance, simply rushed forward into the woods seeking his next kill. But there was no one left. Corpses littered around the ground, barely more than lumps of a shadow in the gloom. The air smelled of ozone and scorched vegetation. All was eerily silent as Ren looked around, catching his breath. Even from a distance, Hux could sense his disappointment that the killing was over, that no outlet for his rage remained. Kylo Ren gathered himself and strode away into the woods, shoulders set with determination, lightsaber still ablaze. The mysterious object he had come for dragged all of them across the galaxy, for was nearly within his grasp. "He's gone mad," General Hux said, and the contempt in his voice was obvious even to his own ears. "Flames of rebellion burn across the galaxy, and Ren chases a ghost?" "No," Allegiant General Pride responded softly but firmly. "Someone was behind the transmission, and Leader Ren will answer to no one." Hux narrowed his eyes. Ren would definitely answer to someone, someday. He just didn't realize it yet. Kylo Ren showed mercy to nothing and no one, but he had a grudging appreciation for things that struggled to survive. Even though the nearest lava flow was many clicks away, it seemed as though the air ought to be too hot, too chemical, for life to truly thrive here. As they'd landed, Hux had to proclaim the planet a desolate hellscape, and Kylo hadn't bothered to correct him. The truth was, Mustafar was teeming with life, all connected through the Force, like those hapless cultists he'd just killed who'd been obsessed with protecting Vader's legacy. Or this forest of twisted iron trees they endeavored to cultivate, or even organisms that swarmed the lava flows, all fragile but determined, but indomitable. It was no wonder his grandfather had chosen this place for a home. Kylo strode through the trees, lightsabers still ignited. Malevolence lay ahead, along with a darkness that had nothing to do with the planet's day or night cycle. But that's not why he kept his weapon ready. He refused to put it away, because for the briefest moment, as he was hacking away at Mustafarians, he had sensed her, watching him. Now his guard was up, and it would stay up until he got what he came for. By silent mutual agreement, the stormtroopers who'd accompanied him had declined to follow him through the woods, which suited him fine. He preferred to be alone for this. A few more steps, and the ground became soggy. The mist thickened. A small splash indicated that his presence had been noticed. Finally, the trees broke open a small lake with brackish water, bordered on all sides, and a large black lump like boulders, just jutting out of the ground at odd angles. No, not boulders, he noted upon a closer look, but rather fallen remnants of Vader's castle. An oily film sicked across the lake's still surface, but as Kylo approached, the water bubbled up in the center, sending tiny waves to lap at his boots. A giant emerged, hairless creature was sheening with wetness, bits of lake clinging to its pasty skin. Its eyes were squeezed shut, but it could still see after a fashion, because draped over its massive, bald head and across one shoulder was a second creature with long, spidery tentacles. The two were locked in symbiosis. Kylo sensed the giant's pain, as though it were a slave to the spidery being that clung to it. Yet neither could survive alone. The creature spoke. "I am the Eye of Webbish Bog. I know what you seek. You will give it to me," Kylo said. The eye cocked its head, making an eerie squealing noise. It took a moment for Kylo to realize the creature was laughing at him. "No need for that," the eye said. "Do you really think my lord would have left it in the guardianship of one who could be swayed by a trick of the Force?" No, he supposed not. "You've been seeking it for a while, yes? I must warn you, our fiery planet burns away deception. If you proceed down this path, you will encounter your true self." Kylo was growing impatient. He glared in silence. "Fine," the creature said, as though disappointed that Kylo would not indulge him in ceremony. "In accordance with Lord Vader's wishes, you have defeated my protectors and earned it. His Wayfinder." The blind giant beneath the eye raised its enormous hand from the water and pointed toward a small island on the lake. On it was a stone structure, like an altar. Kylo turned off his lightsaber and hooked it to his belt. He waded into the shallows, soothing his boots and cloak with the lake water. The water was warm, and the ground beneath the water was a sludge that sucked at his feet. He ignored it all, reaching for a pyramidal object. It fit satisfyingly in his hand, heavy and hot, and he stared at it a moment, lost in its red glow. The sides were etched with glass framed in deep gray resin. The crimson light within seemed to pulse faintly. Ren had come a long way for this, and yet he hesitated, eyeing the pyramid with distrust. "It will guide you through the unknown regions," the eye said, "to the hidden world of Exegol." To him. Whoever he was, the transmission, purporting to be from Palpatine, had reached the far corners of the galaxy. Kylo had it memorized. At last, the work of generations is complete. The great error is corrected. The day of victory is at hand. The day of revenge. The day of the Sith. He wasn't sure what to believe about it, but it was a fair guess that Kylo wasn't the only one seeking answers. Others would follow the same path and come to Mustafar sooner or later, looking for this exact object. So surely his grandfather would have made it harder than this. Those cultists were too easy to kill, this creature too easy to convince. Then again, he was Vader's heir. The object belonged to him. Now that he had it up close, the etchings in the glass clarified into patterns, star charts, alignment markers. Something stirred deep within him, suggesting ancient knowledge and power, and he felt a rush of triumph. It had all been worth it, diverting ships, sending out spies, tracing old records, enduring the smug disapproval of that idiot Hux, all to find this. Kylo looked up and was startled to discover that the eye of the webbish bog was gone, slipped back beneath the surface of a lake, so still as it was through nothing lived within it at all. How long had it been staring at the pyramid? Kylo Ren wasted no more time. Dried blood made the skin of his face itch, and his boots and cloak were soggy with lake water, but insisted of returning to his command ship, the Steadfast. He dismissed everyone back to their regular duties and jumped into his modified TIE Whisperer to make the next part of the journey alone. No one protested. He connected the pyramid to his navicomputer, attaching ports where indicated by the glass etchings. The nav interface lit up with new information, but it also blared a warning. For these coordinates would take him beyond the western reaches to the unknown galaxy. Kylo overrode the warning and jumped into his TIE at light speed. The stars turned to streams of matter. The unknown regions remained uncharted, because of a chaotic web of anomalies had created a near impenetrable barrier to exploration. Only the most foolhardily or desperate ventured there, criminals, refugees, and if the reports were true, remnants of the old Imperial fleet who had refused to accept the New Republic rule. A few planets had been discovered, but their populations remained small, and their trade with the rest of the galaxy had been throttled by the navigational risk. The Sith and the Jedi had found paths through the even more dangerous, more hidden worlds, or so legend said, and the specific, carefully stepped coordinated jumps required to safely navigate the anomalies were among their most closely guarded secrets. The trip would be worth the risk. Someone was out there, claiming to be the Emperor himself, and Kylo could already sense ripples of doubt in the First Order. After all he'd done, after all he'd sacrificed to become the Supreme Leader, who would dare challenge him now? That wraps up the excerpt of the extended scene of Kylo Ren on Mustafar. I am actually very pleased with this, as it shows that we finally got to see the character of the Oracle, which we got a name for, and I'm really glad that happened, because technically the Oracle was going to be in the film and then got cut in the actual theatrical cut, so it's nice to see that it's actually back in the novelization of The Rise of Skywalker, which still makes that character canon, which makes me happy. But let me know what you guys think about this excerpt in the comment section down below. And let me know if you're going to be getting the novelization of The Rise of Skywalker as well. I pre-ordered my copy and I suggest you do the same. Thank you guys for watching. May God bless you and the Force be with you. If you enjoyed this episode, and frankly, even if you didn't, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to help spread the word, please give this video a thumbs up and tell your friends to subscribe. Please check out the official Star Wars Coffee merchandise, and don't forget to check out all of the content playlists on this channel, including The Rise of Skywalker, The Mandalorian, and much more.